IVM.
Your computer can be compromised in many ways, and all cyber attacks ultimately affect your files and apps by accessing everything that's on your PC. Intel vPro keeps you safe from cyber attacks using the Intel Hardware Shield, which has 3 groups of capabilities. First, advanced threat protection, quickly detecting issues like ransomware and crypto mining. Second, below the OS security, identifying unauthorized changes to hardware. And lastly, application and data protection, preventing malware injections. So, secure your organization's productivity with Intel vPro's hardware-based security. Visit intel.in/ITheroes to know more. Remember, Intel vPro, it's built for businesses. Hi, welcome to a show about crypto. And today we're circling back to a topic that we have discussed earlier, which is NFTs. If you haven't heard that episode, please go check it out. We had a conversation with Kavita Gupta and it was delightful. So that focused a lot more on the tech aspect of NFTs. So what we wanted to circle back to was talk about NFTs from the artist's perspective. And in India, when it comes to artists and NFTs, there really is only one person head and shoulders above the rest. Head and shoulders above the rest. Even before NFTs, you've probably seen their work. You either own one of their pieces of work or you have a friend that owns one of their pieces of work. You've definitely seen it on Instagram. It's iconic. Very happy to welcome to the show Prasad Bhatt. Hi, Prasad. How's it going?
Hi, Rohan. Thank you for that flattering introduction.
It's not flattering. It's pretty accurate. I mean, I've seen your work. For years. I think starting at Kalagoda Festival, and to now sort of see it all over Instagram and all over the place. I feel like every second friend's house I go to, they've either been gifted or have purchased either one of your pop culture works or one of the portraits for themselves. So
it's mainly the price point. I made it $4.99, and everybody was like, "Yeah, I think I can spend that much for art."
That's well. Let's not make any dire comments on the state of art right now. Because you have no right to complain, good sir, because you have been selling NFTs. And I would like to know, first up, straight up, just before we get into how well your NFTs have done and all of that, it's just your journey with just as an artist who was doing their work, suddenly discovering NFTs, how that process went about, and then researching that and then getting into actually making and selling NFTs.
Yeah, so for... some people might not know, I've been making art for the last 13 years, and I'm very fascinated by faces, and I like to capture them in my own unique style. If you've seen, I'm very, blessed to discover my own unique way of expression, and I think every artist is in search of that. And people seem to really like it, and they've received. There are big corporations like Disney and Amazon who really like my work and have collaborated. And in 2016, I made these evolution series of different famous personalities, stitched together their avatars and made GIFs. If you remember, GIFs was a thing suddenly on Facebook.
Yes.
And I sort of, tried to take advantage of that. And I made some GIFs, and those went famous. And cut to 5 years later, NFTs, I got into the space. Mainly because I saw Beeple do well. I'm a huge fan of Beeple. We have exchanged a couple of messages on Instagram, and he's a great guy. And when I saw that, he's making a lot of money, I was like, yeah, why not?
Always a good time to inquire. Hey, how'd you make that happen, man?
Yeah. A lot of artists, you will ask them, what's the inspiration? The inspiration is Ethereum to begin with. At least for me, it was. But then I joined the community. And it's just the best group of people I have interacted and worked with. The artist community is really strong. How so? Because it's the start. You remember how comedy was when it started and how it is now?
Long time ago. Yeah. Fair.
So whenever it starts, it's really great. So I wanted to jump onto it. And I learned a lot from other artists. I've collaborated with 2 of them. And it's amazing how at the moment, everybody is helping each other out. And one of the best things about the NFT space is it doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a lot of meme culture associated with NFTs, which works perfectly for me. And I was kind of getting worried when I was doing comedy because, when you get married and you have kids, you have responsibilities. And plus, I could deal with all the politics and all the, say, producers taking advantage of their position. But at some point, I started worrying about the audience,
Mhm.
Because the kind of jokes I want to crack is going to get me into trouble. And
In India, you don't say. What a shock.
so when what happened to Munawar Sheikh, that really shook me. And I was like, maybe I should try to express myself in a community that hopefully has no problems with whatever I do. Now, whatever I put up on Instagram, people are getting offended. And it's so I needed a break from all that. So I moved to NFTs, and now it's amazing how. So that was the main intention. But now I've become like, this person that people look up to and the community looks up to, and I'm trying to help as much as possible. And yeah, one of the problems is everybody knows how much an artist makes.
Yes, everybody knows how much you make now. Welcome to the decentralized, transparent economy that you wanted.
Yeah.
Is it the utopia or the dystopia you hoped for? Everybody knows how much you make, but because everybody knows how much you make, I'm one of those people that knows how much you make, and you have no right to complain because that's a very small price for how much you make.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier, and you mentioned that the biggest problem is that your dad now knows.
Yeah, my dad knows, and I went to Mangalore, and he tried to sell me his stamp collection. He was like selling me his watches, and then my cousins are trying to sell me the action figures. So yeah, I mean, it feels good that I'm in that position now. I used to be the opposite. I used to borrow stuff from my cousin, but now it's like I'm the dude who comes to the town and makes everyone happy.
Yeah, it's nice. Wild. You're the one that left to be the starving artist and somehow came back as the tech mogul. Like, how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great, man. No complaints at all.
So how did you go about the actual process of making the NFTs? Like, I just want to also understand, because for anybody who might be listening, who might be an artist, you've mentioned in the abstract that the community is great. But what's, like, say, for example, today I'm an artist, I make visual art, I make some kind of art, and I want to make an NFT. Step by step, sort of, what do I go to?
So first, you need to have an account on one of the exchange websites like WazirX or Binance, which connects to your MetaMask. And then you you convert fiat to whatever blockchain you want to put your artwork on, whether it's Binance chain or Ethereum chain. There's Tez. So there are a few popping up, and it's getting more and more, diversified in different blockchains.
Right.
So if you're an artist, first you need to pick the blockchain on which you want your artwork.
Yes. First you pick a blockchain
to be minted. Then you pick a site. I don't know what sites are on, like there's WazirX for WazirX.
Yep.
I mean, the token is WazirX. So that is one. And they have a huge, backlog of applications. There are a lot of people applying. So your best bet would be OpenSea and Rarity. And it's a lot easier for Foundation. Foundation is nicely curated for artists. But for that, you need an invite. So it shouldn't be too difficult because the art community really looks out for each other. So you can get an invite. So that is one. And you just wait for the gas to come down. Right now, Ethereum gas is insane. So that there are problems to this. One of the biggest problems is the gas. So I have a collection that I was supposed to release with the ApeDAO community, and that is on a halt now because of the
gas fees.
Gas, yeah.
All right, we're in conversation with Prasad Bhatt about NFTs on a show about crypto. It's time for a short break, but we'll be right back.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood.
Get accustomed to womanhood.
Enjoy the experience of sisterhood.
Might get to wifehood.
Or not. Choose motherhood.
Or not. You'll learn to define your personhood.
Earn a livelihood.
Change the neighborhood.
And get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Natasha.
And me, Ayushi.
On a journey from station starting point.
To station, what now?
Next station, Pudin station. And hopefully, Agla station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.
And we're back to a show about crypto where we're talking to Prasad Bhatt about NFTs from the perspective of the artist. So how, just for our listeners who might not understand, how did this gas affect the minting and the sale of an NFT?
Well, that is very uncertain, because the gas fee can go up anytime. So right now, Ethereum, when Ethereum goes up, that's when right now Ethereum is pumping. It's at what closing to it's close to $5,000. So the gas for each transaction, say you want to mint your NFT, it would be like $300, which is actually not worth it. So you got to wait.
Right.
Or if you are in a hurry, or if you already have a collector in mind who wants your work,
Right.
then maybe it makes sense. And NFT space is no different from any other space, art space. If you're already established, it's going to be a lot easier.
Sure.
I was lucky enough that people knew my work because of what happened 5 years back with the Evolution series. So a lot of big collectors like Mondo, 3F, and a couple of other people who really like my work have purchased. Some of them have displayed it in Times Square.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. And then I'm probably the first artist to make an Indian version of the Bored Ape derivative in the remix collection. So good things have come from that. So yeah, if you want to upload your artwork, you choose a chain and then you fill your wallet with the currency that's required for that particular chain. And then you mint your NFT and hope that the collector. The sad part about as amazing as the community is, it exists on Twitter. So
right.
You know what can happen on Twitter.
No idea. No idea. What can happen on Twitter, Prasad? What are you talking about? It's such a gentle, delightful space for memes and facts. But okay, so now that one of the things you mentioned when we started conversation is that you have a lot more time now because you've gotten into NFTs. So I guess my question is, as an artist, does entering this space, does it sort of shift your priorities? How has your sort of workflow, your art, what you seek to create changed with this sort of new space that you have that you can monetize and actually make money out of? Because yes, on the one hand, there is the art you want to make and there's all of those things. But like you mentioned, you have responsibilities, you have bills that need to be paid. So how do your priorities change? Or to put it another way, is there a danger of the actual art making process starting to take a backseat once this sort of comes in as an option? And I don't know, I'm just genuinely asking.
This is probably the best option any artist could have because it's a space that allows you to be whatever you want. It has freed me from trying to stay relevant on Instagram. And that
you
is
found the Holy Grail. You found the Holy Grail.
Yeah, it's literally a circle of hell after a point on Instagram to constantly put yourself out there, 3 posts a day.
All the circles of hell. It's all the circles of hell.
Yeah, and that is true freedom. The collectors love my work, and finally, I've been paid for all the hard work. So after 15 years, I've finally taken a break. I know what it's like to take a break, mental break, not worry about what am I going to. Yeah, so that is a big thing.
That's huge, right? Because in a way, I'm guessing that gives you more, it sort of gives you more creative freedom in a way as well, right? Yes. Because now you're not just creating for the sake of it, you're creating things that you actually want to create.
Yeah, so I'm going crazy coming up with there are things that I was planning to do in 2018, but I wasn't skillful enough when it came to animation. So I sort of took my time off and for 2 years, I've been trying to learn how to animate. And now I'm finally about to release my collection. And that collection is something that I have completely, not worried about what problems I might get into. And, they are called hand-drawn loops. So they are like transitions between two entities. Like I have made transitions between Kim Jong-un to Dalai Lama.
Wow.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then Jeff Bezos turning into his rocket, but in between he becomes a penis.
Nice.
Things like that.
That's amazing. That's the greatest sentence I've heard today. That's
Yeah, so I'm really, yeah. So I'm really
that's
going
so
all out.
awesome.
Yeah, and people understand that this is humor and they don't have a problem with it. Hopefully, it continues that way. And even if they do, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm right now completely exploiting the freedom that you're getting in this space, which is so difficult on Instagram. I got to think twice, thrice. I got into a lot of trouble for making artworks, which which I truly wanted to speak on. And this is great. I'm away from all that, and hopefully, it continues that way.
That's
So
interesting because so far, like until this conversation, I'll be honest, while I have seen artists sort of do a bunch of things with NFTs, I've always thought of it as a tech space for existing art or a tech space for art. But it's interesting that you say this because it's suddenly, I'm looking at it from the artist perspective, and it's just a whole new safe space for creation, which is really
yeah, it
interesting.
is. It absolutely is. I mean, as of now, I mean, I can speak on what is happening right now. Things can go bad anytime. I mean, we
Sure.
don't know what. Yeah, but for now, it's great. It's just like how it was with comedy. It was great. There was a point where you could say things and get away. But now you
Before
got
people
to,
found us, basically. Before people found
yeah,
us, essentially. There's
yeah,
always so it's essentially at the same stage as all art in the sense you come back. The best stage
yeah,
is the discovery stage,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
pre-discovery stage, where you're just working in
absolutely.
absolute freedom, which is awesome. So in
Yeah,
this new sort of new creative free space, what I want to know is how does this change the game in terms of ownership, distribution, and the way your art
yeah.
travels as an artist?
So, so NFT sort of makes digital uh, gives the owner, like, it makes digital art authentic, just like how people were selling physical assets. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's possible to sell your digital assets just like physical assets. You can auction it, you can transfer it to a owner, and then you can claim your royalties, and that you can mention right at the beginning, say that 10%. So now
Mm-hmm.
if your owner sells it for say 20 Ethereum, you get 2 Ethereum, and so on.
That's
So
amazing.
it's yeah, so it's just like physical painting. Say you bought a Van Gogh. So what can you do with Van Gogh painting? It doesn't mean you can make printouts of it and sell it. You
Sure.
can sell that painting
Sure.
or auction that painting. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how it works. And there are edition sizes also. People are doing that. I mean, there's Nifty Gateway and Super Rare and a lot of other sites that have edition sizes, and including, I mean, anywhere you can have
What does that mean?
different edition size. Means say you want to sell 5 copies. So it's only 5 artworks, same
Right.
artwork, but 5 editions. Just like
Right.
how
Right.
collectibles work, how
Sure.
like those rare collectibles, which are like numbered.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Understood. Okay.
So
That's interesting.
yeah, yeah. Anything else? Did I miss out?
No, 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 no. That
Your
was great.
question? Yeah.
No, no, that was great. So
Okay.
now coming to the part that I wrestle with a little bit every time I read about NFTs. Currently, environmentally, it's not amazing, right? Minting an NFT.
It's
It's so
actually compared to printing your artwork and taking your car and going to a flea market and trying to sell it or putting it up on a website, it is actually negligible. People are not educated. They need to read up more about this. If you're going to be
okay.
an artist printing your art and selling it, it's going to be a lot more harmful than actually minting an NFT. And I don't know why it's blown out of proportion. I'll probably share a link with you which
Sure.
explains
Yeah,
this
that would be
better.
great.
And yeah, I mean, sending emails is also carbon. Being on
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram is also causing pollution. So I don't know why suddenly NFTs, it is negligible compared to actual physical painting.
So you're saying the sort of cost overall once you bundle in the physical artwork
Not
and doing
cost,
all of
not
that. I'm
cost.
saying no, just the overall
Yeah,
everything, like the
yeah,
environment. Let's say the
pollution.
carbon footprint of doing all of that, and the carbon
Yes,
footprint of an NFT eventually just sort
way
of
more,
way. Okay, the
way
NFT
more,
is less,
way
is
more.
what you're saying. Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
I mean,
that's an interesting perspective.
the reason why we have more plastic used than ever in the last 1 year is because we've been sitting at home ordering shit from Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's tons and tons. There's 300 tons of plastic last year because of just this, because people are buying stuff from Amazon and it's all, bubble wrapped, and use of plastic is insane. So say you're selling your art on Amazon and you're shipping every day,
Sure.
it is way more harmful than someone buying a JPEG and putting it in his wallet.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Before I let you go, I have just one final question. So what's next for you in the art space and in the NFT space? What's coming up?
So that's what's coming up. I mean, right now the gas is high, so it's on a hold. But a hand-drawn loops is coming. The one that I told you about, the Jeff Bezos one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there are a lot more bizarre, absurd loops like those that I have worked on.
Penis Jeff Bezos is coming, people. Penis Jeff Bezos is coming.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of those. I've done Tesla and Elon Musk. So it depends on the kind of person you are, the kind of connection you're going to make it. It might be very profound, or it could be like really like, this is dumb, stupid shit.
The way I see it is there's equal value in both. The way I see it is there's equal value in both.
Yeah.
As long as you're in some way enthralled by it, there's equal value in both. That's how I feel. And that's pretty much it. Prasad, but thank you so much for being with us. This is
Thank you. That was great.
I wish you all the best for everything in the future. And I can't wait to chart your journey on Instagram as this continues. Because as you mentioned, we all know exactly how much you make.
Oh, all right. Bye-bye.
I'm kidding. Good luck. See you. Take care, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. An app for extramarital relationships sounds interesting? Well, it exists, and it's booming. On GabyCD, Farad and Sunetru talked to Sybil Shadel from Gleeden, a dating service primarily marketed to women. On Simplified, the gang discussed the phenomena of sports washing illustrated by the recent Saudi takeover of the Newcastle United Football Club. On the Life Manifesto, Serena explains various lessons from Charlie Plum's life and how we can apply them to our own lives. On Say No to Drama, Chetna is here to slice the drama around workaholics and help understand the consequences of our choices. And learn how to simplify your personal finances on Paisa as Anupam speaks to co-founders of Five Money, Sujit Narayan and Sumit Golani. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Slate Coffee, Intel, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market, and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.